I'm Joe Rapari, and this is Tab, the Truth Always Boomer, and it's time now for another episode of Casual Fridays. So let's pull the tab on that and see what happens. When you're surfing the internet, you're liable to find anything. I found this. Can somebody please tell me when Arron Rogers became Jesus? Damn, I know he's good, but he's not that good. It's time for the double D's. Yep, Democrat Dishonesty.
I believe if you look at the evidence over the past about 10 days or so right now, I think it's pretty clear that the president tried to coerce a foreign country into investigating a political rival and used much-needed military aid as a condition of the deal.
It's political bullshit.
When you look at the readout from the administration, from the president himself, it corroborates everything, all of the information that is in the whistleblower's report.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, liar, liar, pants on fire, liar, liar, pants on fire, lie, 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 lie.
Who needs the whistleblower's report? We have the goddamn transcript. We can read it for ourselves. We don't need you to translate it for us, or we don't need the so-called whistleblower to translate it for us. We can read it ourselves. It's right here. Let's read it, shall we? I will ask him to call you along with the Attorney General. Rudy very much knows what's happening, and he is a very capable guy. If you could speak to him, that would be great. The other thing, there's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that, so whatever you can do with the Attorney General would be great. Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution, so if you can look into it, it sounds horrible to me. Then Zelensky says, since we have won the absolute majority in our parliament, the next prosecutor general will be 100% my person, my candidate, who will be approved by the parliament and will start as a new prosecutor in September. He or she will look into the situation, specifically to the company that you mentioned in this issue. The issue of the investigation of the case is actually the issue of making sure to restore the honesty. So we will take care of that and will work on the investigation of the case. On top of that, I would kindly ask if you have any additional information that you can provide us. It would be very helpful for the investigation. That doesn't sound like anything that's a high crime or a misdemeanor. Sounds like he's asking President to look into some corruption that happened while Biden was vice president. So what's wrong with that? At the time this all happened, Biden wasn't a political opponent of Trump's.
However, there is no requirement under the Constitution that we have a full House vote. There is no requirement under House rules that we have a full House vote. And there is no precedent that we have a full House vote.
You see, this is what I mean about these chuckle-headed liberals. You think if you're going to go on national TV, you might be a little more informed. Both Nixon and Clinton had a vote of the full House for an impeachment inquiry, so there is a precedent. But it doesn't matter who these liberals are or how intelligent they think they are or what degrees they have. They're ignorant. They don't know how to read. And they don't know how to comprehend. Check this out. From the Liberal Newsweek, why Pelosi doesn't need a full House vote for an impeachment inquiry, despite Trump's demand. There is nothing in the Constitution that requires a full House vote to launch an impeachment inquiry, Berkeley Law School Dean Erwin Chemerinsky told Newsweek. That has been done before, but it is not a constitutional requirement. President Trump is wrong in saying that it is not a legitimate impeachment inquiry without a floor vote. Well, I guess it's not a prerequisite to know how to read to become a law school dean or to become a lawyer or to become a politician, because I guess none of these knuckleheads can read. They're all a bunch of chuckle-headed ignorant fools. Even this law dean, he can't read either. Let's see what I'm talking about, shall we? Well, I may not be a law school dean or a politician, but I can read and comprehend with the best of them. So let's do some reading and comprehension, shall we? From U.S. Legal, Impeachment Clause Law and Legal Definition. Impeachment clause in the U.S. Constitution empowers the House of Representatives, with an S, to remove the President, Vice President, etc. And the President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors, which the President has done none of those. So let's read this first sentence again really slow so the liberals can understand it too, because they're not all too bright. Impeachment clause in the U.S. Constitution empowers the House of Representatives, with an S, the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives is not Nancy Pelosi, is not Adam Schiff, is not Elijah Cummings, is not Jerry Nadler, and is not Maxine Waters. The House of Representatives, with an S, plural, is the whole House, which includes all the Democrats and all the Republicans. The U.S. Constitution empowers the House of Representatives, again with an S, all the Democrats and all the Republicans. It doesn't empower Nancy Pelosi. It doesn't empower this law school dean. It doesn't empower Jerry Nadler. It doesn't empower Adam Schiff. It doesn't empower Maxine Waters. It empowers the whole House of Representatives. So, I guess, until these people learn how to read and comprehend, they're screwed.
So let me just say this.
I am an idiot.
Democrat Dishonesty.
I don't know about you, but I can't get enough of TV live bloopers. They just crack me up. Check these out.
About yourself, AJ.
Thanks, Van. I'm very excited. I graduated from West Virginia University, and I'm used to, from being from the East Coast.
Of the Mahasabadama Machaja Maharaj.
Starting at Houghton Avenue and going all the way to State Avenue, drivers are down to the single lane in each direction. What? Right now? They could get a new poop. The study's being published today in the Annals of Neurology.
There's still plenty of time to take part in our last Stuff a Butt.
Tuesday, 59 degrees. Wednesday, there we go. That looks good. That looks good.
Excuse me. Majority.
Exhausted. I've run out of things to say. It is snowing and it sucks here.
KTVU has just learned the names of the 4 pilots who were on board the flight. They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Lee Fook, and Bang Ding Ao.
I'm a man at night and a man in the morning.
When my son was teething, he used to like to take the big fat rubber end of my vibrating toothbrush and put it in his mouth and he'd just kind of sit there like, oh yeah, that feels good. That hit the spot. My gums are itchy. Mark has a little wiener.
Just one photo in my awesome photo archives this week, and it pretty much speaks for itself, or give it a guess. It's Casual Friday's news in brief, so let's get started, shall we? Chinese regime unveils new arsenal tailored for war with U.S. and Taiwan. This 70th anniversary military parade is intended to intimidate 2 major targets: the distant democracy of the United States and the nearby democracy of Taiwan. The main new PLA weapons revealed in this parade are missiles. When U.S. forces with allies and partners in Asia can deploy 1,000 or more missiles, it will be possible to deter China from launching attacks against democracies near and far. Bernie Sanders hospitalized, canceling events until further notice. Senator Bernie Sanders suspended his presidential campaign after he was hospitalized in Las Vegas, receiving 2 stents in an artery. During a campaign event yesterday evening, Senator Sanders experienced some chest discomfort. Following medical evaluation and testing, he was found to have a blockage in one artery and 2 stents were successfully inserted. Senator Sanders is conversing and in good spirits. He will be resting up over the next few days, Sanders' senior advisor Jeff Weaver said. 2 suspects, 2 illegal immigrants accused of raping children, were released in New Jersey and New York after authorities declined to hold the suspects in jail for Immigration and Customs Enforcement to pick up. Musk unveils plan for SpaceX's Mars Starship rocket. Elon Musk gave space fans an outline of plans for Starship, the next-generation vehicle his Space Exploration Technologies Corporation expects to use to eventually take humans to Mars. Ultimately, Starship will carry as many as 100 people on long-duration interplanetary flights, SpaceX said on Twitter. The goal is to make space travel like air travel, Musk said on stage September 28th during a highly technical presentation from the company's Boca Chica test site near Brownsville, Texas. We're really right on the cusp of what's physically possible. Federal judge rules Catholic adoption agency can refuse LGBT parents. A federal judge in Michigan has ruled that a Catholic adoption agency contracts will be allowed to refuse to handle adoption requests that would place children with LGBTQ couples. The judge pointedly noted that imposing the agency, the state's attorney general engaged in a targeted attack on the agency's sincere held religious belief. The ruling came September 26 in a case cited as Buck v. Gordon, which involved Lansing-based St. Vincent Catholic Charities, along with Chad and Melissa Buck, parents of 5 children with special needs, and Samber Floor, a former foster child. St. Vincent has stated that as a Catholic organization, it cannot provide a written recommendation to the state evaluating and endorsing a family situation that would conflict with its religious beliefs. This means it can't endorse adoption for unmarried or LGBTQ couples consistent with its Catholic mission. 18,000 refugees. The White House has set the new refugee ceiling at 18,000 for fiscal year 2020, well below the fiscal 2019 limit of 30,000. This proposed ceiling takes into account the ongoing security and humanitarian crisis on our border and the massive asylum backlog, which now includes nearly 1 million individuals, the administration said in a statement. Joe Biden worked with whistleblower when he was vice president, officials reveal. The 2020 Democratic candidate with whom the CIA whistleblower had a professional tie is Joe Biden, according to intelligence officers and former White House officials. Bombshell. Ukrainian MP says Joe Biden paid $900,000 by firm Hunter Biden works for. Ukraine's parliamentarian Andrei Derka, who is heading a criminal case on interference in the 2016 U.S. elections, revealed on Wednesday that former Vice President Joe Biden was funneled $900,000 for lobbying activities by Burisma Group, where his son Hunter Biden has sat on the board of directors since 2014. Darka provided charts and images showing the connection between Burisma and U.S.-based company Rosemont Seneca Partners, which was co-founded by Hunter Biden. Leaders of France, Germany, Australia rebuke Greta Thunberg. The leaders of France, Germany, and Australia have criticized teenage climate activist Greta Thunberg after she accused them on the world stage of not taking enough action to avert what she calls a mass extinction. French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Angela Merkel distanced themselves from Thunberg over the speech to the United Nations and a legal complaint Thunberg filed that accuses France and Germany, among other nations, of a lack of action on climate change. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison faulted Thunberg for subjecting Australian children to needless anxiety. They've got enough things to be anxious about, Morrison said on his own daughters. We've got to let kids be kids. We can't have them growing up as mushrooms, but we've got to get a bit of context into this. On the lighter side, 108 years, the oldest barber in the world, who continued to work into his 108th year at a New York salon, has just died 2 months after hanging up his scissors for the last time. Anthony Mancinelli was named last year as the oldest working barber in the world by the Guinness World Records. Mancinelli, who lived in New York State, about 1 hour's drive from New York City, was born on March 2, 1911 in Montemilione, Italy. He moved to the United States at age 8 and started barbering professionally at age 12, meaning he worked in the profession for a grand total of 96 years. And finally, we have this story. 12 candidates. The next Democratic presidential debate on October 15th will feature the most crowded stage yet, with 12 candidates vying for airtime on a single night. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's time for this week's Golden Toilet Award for Loser of the Week. And who does this week's Golden Toilet Award go to? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the NBA, for kissing China's ass and putting money and profits ahead of human rights, and looking the other way on torture, beatings, organ harvesting, and concentration camps. Way to go, NBA! So here it is, National Basketball Association, the Golden Toilet Award for Loser of the Week. Put it with all the rest of your awards, but this will be the most coveted, the Golden Toilet Award for Loser of the Week. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this week's edition of Casual Fridays. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. It would be greatly appreciated. That's it for now. More news later. Take care, and as always, be safe.